Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the IB Sports Week 10 NFL kickoff show. As always, I am the commish, and I am joined by an under the weather Starscream.
I'm gonna make it, man. I'm gonna make it.
Chicken soup. You need chicken soup. You need saltine
Yeah,
crackers, no pun intended, and you need ginger ale, man. That will get it done.
yeah, that
All
shit
those
don't.
things are the mythical remedies for this type of thing.
Right?
Did you see anything yesterday that interested you on college football?
No, I mean the big news today is Jimbo Fisher got fired.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
I
but
never understood. I never understood why he left Florida State. Because to me, maybe Texas A&M had, well, they do have
you
more money to
you see
throw
how
at him.
much he's getting paid
Yeah, yeah,
out his
exactly.
buyout?
Florida
I
State
mean,
wouldn't do that. But I never understood for both sides. I mean, I know the pay, but the positioning to have to bring Texas A&M to where you need to get. So I guess if it's all about money, sure. But I never understood why Texas A&M thought he was the savior from the get-go.
I mean, he did good for them recruiting wise. He increased their profile on the recruitment trail. It's just the results
I mean,
never
but
showed
he,
up on
he
the
wasn't
field.
any better than Sumlin. I'm not when I say recruiting in results wise.
Yeah, result wise, there was no difference. But I mean, for what it's worth, I mean, they at least again like the recruiting profile. He's not leaving them bare. Basically, he's not leaving them in a position where whoever comes in next is going to have to do a whole lot of work. They just got to win games because recruits they'll still get recruits. So I mean, well, I do know why people go there, but that particular juncture won't change for their program. I don't think.
And they got a couple. They got a win over Alabama, maybe two if I can remember right. But just it's tough to win. It's really tough to win from A&M. It's just a tough job, I think, because we got all that competition in Texas. I just think it's a really tough job.
Well, I mean, shoot, for what it's worth, they've had a top recruited class several years actually. And then like the excuses that you want to give him, you can't really give him because he's overcome all that. And at the end of the day, the results on the field, like it was some of it was coaching. He just he finally gave up play calling this year, but that didn't really change anything either. And then if you look at it from another standpoint, if you got a number one, number two recruiting class and these kids are not producing, then what does that say about you as a recruiter? You need to get buckled down, you know? So at the end of the day, I don't have any sympathy for him, and he's still making out $77 million. Crazy,
Yeah,
crazy.
nobody is gonna weep for Jimbo Fisher. It's just
Heck no.
interesting. Who do you think would be interested in him at this point?
And Jimbo,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely nobody in a power five. Ain't no way anybody's trying to touch that. Maybe if you had like a Northwestern, which he would obviously turn down. But like think about like Florida's a job that might come up at some point. They're not gonna want Jimbo, man. Like I don't know if anybody would really be interested. Like I'm hearing UW's coach might be on A&M's radar. Jimbo's not moving past Texas. So from Texas back towards the East Coast, I don't think there's any interest in him right now.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if you give it a year or two, you sit out, you seem better in comparison after a while. But I've just never. I mean, he brought you all to prominent back to prominence,
Yeah,
but I don't know.
I mean, but that was stale too after
Yeah, but I think
after
when you're in a weaker conference, you got a much better like to do what Clemson. No offense to Clemson, but to do what Clemson has done or do what Florida State used to do in the ACC, it's a lot harder than to go into the SEC where most weeks you got a competition.
yeah, no, I get that too, but again, he's had recruiting advantages, personnel wise, over a vast majority of these teams, man. Even in the SEC, like you can make an argument that the year that he beat Bama and the year after that, he had the better team on paper.
Mhm.
So I think it's hard to defend it when you look at like Georgia, who's a machine, but they've had top recruiting classes and they get the results. Bama hasn't had the number one, number two recruiting class, but they're still getting generally good results. I mean, we're talking about an Aggies team. They're winning 9 games. Ain't no way. You got to give me at least 10 or 11. You out here winning 8, 9 games with these recruiting classes. That's completely unacceptable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
again, you have to be able to develop those players. You have to be able to coach those players in the game. That's part of I think where he fails. Let's get to the NFL.
yeah,
See, all right, Browns and the Ravens. One of the games of the day. Both of these defenses, in their own way, are in historic territory within the time they are in. The Ravens lead the NFL with the fewest points allowed, and they've only given up 9 touchdowns, which is pretty amazing considering they have 105 drives they defended. The Browns lead the NFL in fewest yards a game, 234. How you see it playing out?
I'm begging for a look ahead spot here. Ravens got the Bengals on Thursday, and they're getting the Browns. It's a pretty tough stretch of their schedule with their back-to-back division games on the short week. I think the Browns are gonna cover. I'm not bold enough to pick them to win, although I wouldn't be totally shocked if they did find a way. But I think the Browns keep it competitive and cover.
The Browns have their top 3 tackles are out of the game today. I would think that the play would be the Browns, but when you got, I think the new thing to look for, which I've noticed this season, it just should be noticed anytime. If there's injuries on the offensive line, we talk about it a lot. There's nobody to replace these people, and if there are multiple injuries, there's definitely nobody to replace these people. And the Ravens' defense is really good. The Browns is too, but you got Watson versus the Ravens defense, and you got Lamar against a very good Cleveland defense. I think it could easily be a blowout, and you could have some turnovers just based on Watson playing behind an inferior offensive line.
Yeah, I think Watson needs to step his play up this week for sure for them to win. And I think everybody's expecting that to come around at some point anyway. He hasn't I haven't been hypercritical of him the last couple games. I think he's still getting his sea legs back under him, and I'm expecting this to be a good game for him. I actually liked him to throw over 190 yards just on a whim, just because I feel like in order for them to be competitive in the win, he's got to find a way to find that old Deshaun Watson.
And that old Deshaun Watson might not be there anymore, honestly, because
Yeah,
you sat out so long. I don't know what happened. Usually, guys that can run, if they sit out that long, you can always run. So it's a really weird thing that they have going on. But I'd take the Ravens, the 6.5. Not sure if it's changed since Friday, but I think I would take the Ravens 6.5.
yeah, I'm gonna stick with because Ravens have been playing well out their mind the
Yeah,
last
they
two
really
games.
have.
So I'm gonna be contrarian here. Well, actually, it's not even contrarian. I think a lot of people are taking the Browns to cover, so I'm gonna stick with the Browns.
And yeah, I mean that seems like the play. I'm just looking at the offensive line being so messed up, basically.
Yeah,
And let's see.
but let's be honest though. You're still I mean, they're still DNA wise a power run team. Did the tackles like in a one game situation, not long
Yeah,
term,
I know what
like
you're saying.
one game?
But at some point, you got to drop back
Yeah, that's true.
and make some passes. And I don't think necessarily that. Well,
That's,
they had Chubb. Maybe they could dominate, or I don't know if they could
Trent
dominate
Williams
the
is
Ravens, but
active.
yeah. I mean, we'll see. What'd you say?
I said Trent Williams is active.
Yay for y'all.
Yeah, we'll
Oh,
be.
that was heartfelt, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Texas and the Bengals. The Bengals are just look like they're back. They won, I know, at least 4 out of their last 5, if not their last 5. Jamar Chase is supposed to be in. T. Higgins is out. They are 4-0 since week 5, and they won games by a point differential of 10 points. Do you think that the Bengals are just ready to make this big run where they go back to the AFC Championship game or the Super Bowl?
Jamar Chase should be playing. I
Yeah,
think
he's in,
that
and T. Higgins is out.
yeah, T Higgins is out. I mean, the them being nicked up is concerning, but the end of the day, they're still a immensely talented team. It just comes down to whether or not their coach wants to use all that talent. Um, I think this is the time of year where they do get rolling, but I will say that this line at 7, I like the Texans, and this line at 6.5, I kind of like the Bengals. But I'm not sure anymore. I think I'm leaning more towards the Texans. CJ Stroud's just been really amazing. Like
Yeah,
there's no other.
obviously they are very. There's not. I don't think Cincinnati will overlook them, and their defense is pretty good. I like their
I
defense
mean, they
coordinator a
could.
lot.
They got the Ravens on Thursday. Like I mean,
Yeah,
it's possible.
it's
It's possible.
definitely possible, but I don't know. They're just so locked in right now, and when you see the way Burrow is playing, it's really hard for me to see them at home losing this game, and they just got everything rolling. But if you got an injured Chase that is not 100%, and maybe no T Higgins, but I don't think, and doubting CJ Stroud might be a mistake, but he hasn't been good every game, and
Yeah.
I think that Cincy's defense is going to really be able to give him some trouble and show him some things. They're creative and show him some things that he hasn't seen yet.
Yeah. I mean, there's always that risk that him being a rookie is going to rear its ugly head, but he's passed pretty much every test so far, and he's coming off one of the best games, well, the best game of his like career,
Life
both collegiate and professional. Like that was
at
crazy.
one, I
What,
mean, one of
5
the best games
touchdowns?
anybody's ever had in the
Yeah,
NFL. Certainly a
yeah.
rookie. Certainly a
So
rookie.
like my thing with the Bengals, and even covering this number is just like their inconsistency to commit to a game plan, man. Like again, there's still these times where they're going side to side and instead of going down the field with the playmakers. And I still find myself asking, where's Mixon? Where's Boyd? Why do I have to ask that? They should already be involved in the game plan pretty consistently. So that's my biggest concern because the Bengals are rolling right now, but the coaching is still not where I wanted to be, me personally.
You're always hard on them, man. They're beating really good teams.
Yeah,
They
they
beat
are.
the Niners. They
But
beat the
look,
Bills. They're
when
beating
you make
contenders.
things harder than they should be, it always catches up to you. And
Yeah.
we're talking about a number now. Outright win, yes, I think the Bengals are going to win. I expect them to win. But when we're talking about covering numbers, you can't be making games harder than what they should be, and going against a good team. And to be honest with you, Texans haven't been beat by more than 7 all year, pretty much. I think is what I saw. At least it hasn't happened often. I don't think any of their games have come in except for maybe the first game where they were over 7. I have to go back and double check, but there's still some level of concern to me about the number when it comes to the Bengals.
I I don't know. I just think they're like I think they're ready. I think that they are just at this point where they're gonna go on that run again. They're gonna I'd pick up for the Super Bowl, but I know Kansas City might figure out they're very good at figuring out the problems they have. But they don't look like they have the horses as far as receiver wise. Uh, Texans are ahead of schedule, so I would take. I see 6.5 is a lot. I would
Hmm?
take the Texans to cover, but not to win.
Yeah, that's fair.
Finally, we get to the San Francisco 49ers. Y'all are a very different team when Debo plays.
What?
There are a lot of stats, but Purdy is 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions with Debo, 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions without. He seems to be crucial to what y'all do. Why is there such a big difference when Debo is out versus when he's in?
Debo's our Tyreek, man. He moves the line. He's the motion guy. Like he the things that Arthur Smith says about Bijan, that's what Debo actually does for us. Like he gives people different looks. He makes them have to play us differently because you don't like he's such a threat in different facets of the game. And the way we scheme him in our system makes him really the catalyst, man. Like without him, we're predictable, I think. And I think without him, we don't we don't have much of a threat underneath either because Debo going in motion, coming out of the backfield a lot of times he's kind of the safety valve. It's not Kittle, it's not Ayuk, it's really Debo. Like first read or safety valve. Like he's a big key component to our offense. So having him back is great. We don't have a backup Debo. Nobody that you would believe would be able to do for us what he does when he's not in the game. And then obviously Trent Williams really helps as well.
You said something about that bum Trent Williams.
Fact.
I think you're breaking up.
You can't
Have to
even
call
you can't even joke about that. Like him
what?
being a bum. Trent being a bum. There's nothing bum about
You make fun
dude.
of Brady. I
Dude,
only
like
criticize
I ain't
greatness.
never called
I
Brady. I
only
ain't never called
criticize
Brady no
greatness.
bum. I ain't never called Brady no bum. I done been
I only
hateful on
criticize
Brady.
greatness. That's what
I
you
ain't
say.
never
You call
called
him
that.
a lot of
I ain't never
names. You
called that
call
man a
Tom a lot
bum.
of names, man.
I ain't never called that man a bum.
Do you
I done
think?
hated on him.
Do you think the addition of Chase Young will bear any fruit today, or just in general?
I mean, it should. It really
You
should.
think?
Like I'm talking like based on what his dad was saying. Oh, he always getting triple teamed and this and that. Bro, he ain't getting triple teamed today. So yeah, I better see some results. I better see some results for sure. Um, but like I mean, it's a low risk, high reward situation for us. If he does well enough, we can re-sign him. We probably get first dibs on it for real. But if not, I mean, he's a good rental.
And two, he was saying that the first thing he said they just do things different here. You put a dude in a different environment where these are NFL players. They never played NFL, so all they know is Washington. So you bring them somewhere else, you're like, wait a minute. It's almost like when guys go to the Heat, and it's like, wait a minute, that's this is how we do things here. Oh, okay. So you can say a lot about 49ers, but they're a buttoned up, legit program, legit franchise. So I think you will see something from him. I'm not sure you'll ever see that number one, um, that number one pick talent, but I do think he could be very effective. And what teams are doing, which is a lot of what the problem is this year or in the last couple of years, is they're having 5-man fronts, and so the 5-man fronts create one-on-one opportunities. And we play a 5-man front, and everybody's good, and everybody's single coverage, single blocked. You got a big problem. Y'all are 2-9 against the spread your past 11 games off a bye, which is weird considering, well, 2-4 with Kyle Shanahan. So something y'all are doing wrong on the bye week. Jags are 4-0 against teams that enter with a winning record. That is straight up. So, who you got?
I'm gonna go with the Niners. Like we need this game bad. We
You do.
really
It's
do.
like you can't lose. What, 4 in a row? That
Yeah,
would be tough.
yeah.
Let's see. Is it straight up? It is spread 3. You think
It's
y'all are
three.
covered?
Yeah, I think we covered.
All right, one of the interesting games of the day: Lions and the Chargers. 6-2 Chargers. I mean 6-2 Lions at the Chargers. 4-4. CBS for a 5-game. Detroit is favored by 3 on the road.
Go team me hit. I'm shocked that it's 3, but I guess because the bye week.
Yeah, maybe so. I mean, but the Chargers aren't good.
I
They
mean,
aren't.
they're not. They're not. And they give up a lot of points, man. Like it's hard to bet. It's hard to back a team that defensively can give up over 300 something yards any given day.
Yeah, that is. And not, the thing about the coach's name,
Staley, Brandon Staley.
Staley, is, and Cory says this first person I heard this say this. If you come from one side of the ball and you're the head coach and that side's not good, you can't coach. I
Yeah,
understand if your offense isn't good, but the strength of the team is the offense, and you're still not getting as much out of Herbert as you got last year. Word to Kellen Moore. I even was scared of Kellen Moore without Herbert, but he actually is more susceptible to turnovers. He has more turnover worthy plays already this year than he had all of last year.
I mean, I'm with you on that too. I think I said something about that in one of my posts too. Like they've never had a top 15 defense, and he's a defensive coordinator, and their defense has been really, really bad this year. And as far as his take on analytics and going for it on fourth down, his game management is probably one of the worst in the league. And Justin Herbert just gets a pass for some reason. I don't know. I kind of know why, but yeah, he he's not very good when they got to come from behind.
Yeah, I agree with that. And on the other side, the Lions, like it's just time to believe in the Lions. I think they're better than the Cowboys. I hate to say that with as much anger as I have towards Dan Campbell. It's subsiding because he's proven me wrong. I'm gonna have to wait to the playoffs and they choke because of disorganization to hate on him. But
He's
you know,
done
it's
it.
been
He
impressive. The
hasn't
only
shown this
weakness would be
organization.
their 24th in red zone efficiency. But I mean, Dan Campbell is the new. I can't remember anybody's names. What's the Minnesota coach I used to love because he covered
Oh God,
the one
Zimmer.
before this one? Yeah, he was good at covering. See, I was listening to you. The Lions are 6-3 ATS in games in November or later under Dan Campbell. 9-1 against the spread last season. So it's good.
Yeah,
Uh,
they've been balling.
and this is the time where they come on stronger. So I would take the Lions even with the spread. Commanders and the Seahawks. Yikes. Not the kind of game. Now, they didn't quit last week. We were worried about that, and they didn't quit. It was a new coach theory, but is the new coach theory just a one game thing? The Commanders are 4-0 as an underdog, as road underdogs, and 4-1 overall. Okay, 4-1 against the spread overall, and 4-0 against the spread as road underdogs. Uh, some of the information is telling us to play the Commanders. What do you think as a capper?
As a capper, I mean, historically speaking, the Commanders have done pretty well against the number in Seattle. So that's what scared me away from taking Seattle here. Seattle hasn't really shown that they can close out games in a manner that a team like the Commanders, who are not going to necessarily quit, would be put away. So, like, what I mean by that is, let's say it's a 9-point game and there's like a minute and 30 left. I can see the Commanders backdoor covering the 9-point game because Seattle just hasn't shown that they really want to put teams away. You know what I'm saying? So I actually liked the history on the Commanders. So I was leaning Commanders for the cover, but I went after props for this game specifically.
What are the props that you're into?
Thinking DK Metcalf has a good game. Because he's a big body receiver with speed, and they typically struggle with those guys. And he's also been having some pretty up and down games, so I'm thinking that they're gonna want to get right here. So DK anytime scorer plus 140,
If he doesn't get
over
kicked out of the game,
66.5 yards. You said what?
if he doesn't get kicked out of the damn game, he's just
Yeah,
fire.
like he's like a lot like Draymond.
Yeah, he is starting to become that, and it's kind of with that much talent though, you can't get kicked out of the game, man. You can't. Your team needs you. You
Yeah,
cannot get
literally.
kicked out of the game, but it is what it is with them. The Commanders are also 8-2-2 against spread in their last 12 games as underdogs. So they're a good underdog team. Let's go to the Saints and the Vikings. Miracle performance. I don't understand how he pulled it off last week, but an amazing performance. But we saw something similar to that with Baker last year. Do you think it holds up, or was that just kind of a flash in the pan?
That was Arthur Smith being a terrible coach more than anything. But at least he gets a week to work with his team this time. And the Saints are just you can look up Derek Carr's numbers against the spread as a favorite on the road. It's under I'm pretty sure it's under 40%. It's really bad. Really bad. And they got a lot of distractions off the field with Michael Thomas this week as well. So I'm actually leaning Vikings here to cover.
It's interesting because I can't. It, their offense is still good, but you don't know what you're going to get from Dodd, who they just reported he got lost in the
Yeah,
Viking Stadium. He didn't know where the home locker room was.
bless
Sounds
his
like me, brother. I get
bless
lost
his.
all the time, but in new places especially. But it's kind of funny that, but he's like the perfect backup quarterback. Now, the longer you see a backup quarterback, They're kind of like relief pitchers. The longer you see them, the less effective they are. And it's really hard to get a beat on the Saints. But the Vikings have been playing with heart and passion, at least since they started 0-2. So if I had to, I would pick the Vikings. This is the best team for Alvin Kamara. He has 7 rushing touchdowns in 3 games against Minnesota, which is tied for his most against any team. The Vikings have covered 4 straight games as well. So I have Minnesota as well. Giants and the Cowboys. We got something starting named Danny DeVito. What's his name? I like to call him Danny DeVito.
Isn't it Tommy DeVito?
It is Tommy, yes.
Okay. I mean, honestly, I didn't know. I just knew it was DeVito. And everybody keeps making the same joke. So I'm like, is it Danny?
I think there's a Tommy DeVito in Goodfellas, maybe. And that's the Joe Pesci character. At least according to Michael Lombardi. I'm not into saltine.
Whoa. Goodfellas. First of all, Goodfellas is a classic. It's not just
I'm saying I'm not into it. Meaning like I don't watch them 30 times to know every movie. Beautiful movies. I mean, Goodfellas, The Untouchables, obviously The Godfather. Great movies, but I'm not gonna watch it 57 times.
Yeah, I was gonna be like, hold on now. We're not gonna slander.
No, I would never slander. But I don't know every single scene and every single character, and I haven't seen it in 20 years. The Giants are just hapless. I don't even know what could happen. It does seem like these kind of 17-point spreads are tough, but I don't know what could happen when the Cowboys would dominate, especially when you look at their defensive line.
Mac Jones just threw an interception on the 5-yard line.
It's not shocking.
They were driving. Giants
they don't protect him either, by the way. He was
no.
You
know what's crazy? I was gonna say something about that, but we talked college at the beginning. They have max protect, 13 personnel, and this dude still gets sacked within 2 seconds.
He's not good, but you shouldn't get pressured on 50% of your dropbacks. I'm not sure who would be great with that. I don't know who's dominating with getting pressured every other dropback. So
poor Juju. Yeah, this game is.
If Juju hadn't been dancing all the time, he would still be with Pittsburgh. If he could have chilled out.
This line is getting 0 resistance, man. Like Dallas might close it like 18-19 for real.
It's crazy, but I mean, it's just such a mismatch. And then you saw what he did last time. The only way if Dallas just came out, which they don't do like this against bad teams, they came out sloppy and just kind of were unmotivated. But Park Parsons wants like 4 or 5 sacks. That's just not how they play on defense. I think defense alone is.
Can y'all get him off the podcast, bro? He's not.
It needs to happen. He's actually chilled out as far as saying crazy things.
He's not the Kelsey brothers, bro. It's not even a good podcast. It's just him just being a fanboy. It's stupid.
It is rather annoying. I grant you, it's rather annoying. Falcons, and evidently from
you gotta say this for Cory, man. His boy
must win game for the Falcons. Is he obsessed with them too? Did I miss something?
No, Kyler. Kyler's coming back.
Oh yeah, I forgot Kyler Murray was coming back. Let's see what he got. I don't know why he's coming back. I know if he gets hurt, there's an injury guarantee. I guess they're trying to see what they have with them, but don't you already know what you have with Kyler Murray?
Not in the new offensive system, no.
Oh God!
And that's what it is. I mean, that's honestly
using that whole entire time to study. I'm so sure.
The report is that Kyler doesn't study, and et cetera. And what they want to do is they want to see if he can handle the nuances of the offense. And if he does well enough, they'll reinvest in him. If not, then they're gonna try to go somewhere else. But also, the owner or GM came out and said that his contract is basically they can't do nothing with his contract because
nobody wants that.
Yeah, well, I was like, duh. You knew that when you gave him that high guarantee.
They are so eager to pay these guys. You have to prove to me that I'm going to invest in you long term. That you're so.
You sound like a 3-13. You sound like a 3-13 coach.
You said what?
You sound like a 3-14 coach. You better get that out right now. No, you invest when you think you got it. You wait around too long, you're gonna be upset, man. Like it's the same argument I give people.
But why would you think you got it with him? What is he showing you to think you got it?
With Collar?
Yeah.
I mean, he's a playmaker. Was he rookie of the year?
And then it gradually got worse every game, every year.
Yeah, but
He quit on the team. He quit on the team in that playoff game. That
that's
is not the
different.
guy
That's
you
a
invest
leadership.
in. You
That's
know he's got
leadership.
bad. If you're going to take a contract and you put in the contract he needs to study more, that's not the guy. Not the guy, man.
That is pretty funny, man.
That's not the guy. If you know internally he's not a hard worker, why would you pay him?
That's pretty funny.
And the team doesn't like him. People publicly on the team has stuff to say about him. You remember that?
Yeah.
I'm not investing in that.
All I know is my boy Gardner Minshew is nice.
Yeah, experts. Speaking of relievers, Broncos and the Bills, Monday Night Football. The spread is 7. The Broncos are tricky, but I don't think the Bills have fallen quite that far.
I am out of my mind, but I got the Broncos plus 7.5. I mean, look, the Bills definitely like they're not bad, but it ain't looking that great either. And these bad teams that they used to beat by like 60 points are now covering against them. So I'm gonna go with this bad team covering.
If it means anything, the Broncos have lost. They lost 7 straight consecutive Monday Night Football games. Don't know why, but they seem to lose them. Russell Wilson has returned into the highest paid game manager in America, but they're competing with people. They're staying in games, so I could see them covering and not winning. It's at Buffalo. If it was at Denver, I think I would go for them. We have a weird game. They're smoking packs. They're smoking these McDaniels packs. The Raiders seem like they're free. They're 4-5. The Jets are traveling all the way out there as 1-point favorites. Who you got?
I got the Raiders.
I mean, you do have the Raiders look like they've got something going now, and maybe Max Crosby will dominate to the point where it'll just mess up Zach Wilson. But I think I got the Raiders too, even though I don't know. Well, we agree. I'm not sure that's always a good thing. Let's break down who you have for the Cardinals and the Falcons. I don't think we're gonna get Cory on.
I got the Cardinals.
I got the Cardinals too. I don't think the Falcons defense, great as Jared's out, I don't think the Falcons defense is anything to be afraid of.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
All right, 2 things. One, what was your boy Belichick doing with his shirt off in that video? And then 2,
I don't know. He might have been just going to get the paper. It could be his
okay.
house. I don't know.
That was his house?
I don't know. Probably not. Why was he coming out of whose house? I don't understand. And who gave the footage out? Because it was from behind.
In 4K, bro.
That was their ring cam. I'm confused.
Yo, they had my man Bill out here looking.
I didn't want to investigate.
No, I don't even know, man. At least it wasn't
I know he has a long-term girlfriend, so that could be a bad. Maybe he was at his sister's house or something, man. I don't know.
That's really weird, actually. And then my next question is: how many times do you have to bench Mac Jones for Bailey Zappi before you just let Bailey Zappi start?
I don't even know why. They're talking about the other guy, the black one. That's that he was started for Zappi. I don't understand. How could it be worse?
Zappi's warming up now on the sideline.
They never permanently do it? How could it be worse than what Mac Jones is providing? At least Zappi's not gonna have a bunch of turnovers, and if he does, they're not back breaking. So I mean, I don't know why, but games like this are why Mike Tomlin keeps that streak going. I don't understand. It was a long trip. I don't blame him going all the way to Germany. But 3 of 5 packages. We know Jordan Love isn't it. We also know Kenny Pickett isn't it. But these are the kind of games that keep the Steelers alive. They'll be just enough to win, and Mike Tomlin will continue this ridiculous streak.
We also know Matt Canada is the worst offensive coordinator in the league. But yeah,
that's my biggest evidence to know why Tomlin's not a great coach. Why would that guy still be there?
I you know what's crazy? I actually have to agree with you on that, man. It makes absolutely no sense that he's still there, and that Tomlin is so loyal to him. It makes no sense whatsoever.
Like, where's the loyalty coming from?
I
My
have
boy
no
Ty
idea.
got ran out of town, and they were productive.
I have no idea.
Well, he's not my boy. He's kind of a jerk.
But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Steelers here. I just think Jordan Love has a bad game.
Yeah, well, that's pretty typical. Pretty typical of Jordan Love. So I think I got the Steelers too. I might actually put a bet on that. I wouldn't get the hook, but they're terrible. The Packers. All right, do you have any best bets before we go? I don't think we're gonna get Cory.
Niners was gonna be my best bet, and pray for my Colts win here because I had them too.
I thought you would say pray for my cold, but the
No.
under was a lot
No.
less.
Man, I'm good on that. I'll be all right tomorrow. I think.
All right. For the commish.
Hold on. We're not gonna leave this podcast without me saying free Kyle Pitts.
Free Jim Harbaugh, bro. What is going on?
What?
Free him. What? This is conspiracy. I'm gonna tell a man when he land that he can't coach.
Bro, no, they have been dropping Easter eggs the entire week that he won't go be allowed to coach.
This is reports.
Nah, you trying to
people. They're trying to be slick.
Nah, you trying to be funny. You know what it is too, man. Imagine if your mom told you something like that and you still gonna try to go ahead and do it anyway. You lucky you ain't get hit upside the head. Keep playing around.
All right, bet. As my boys said, bet. He didn't be bad for the Ohio State game. That's ridiculous, man. That shouldn't be a thing. That injunction, they better be careful of that injunction because he could end up getting it, and then like Brady, you could play a little while, then they hit you.
Yeah, later. and then you can't coach in the playoffs or something.
Playoffs, yeah. You got to string it all the way out to next year. This man got suspended 7 games, isn't it? He got suspended the first 3, didn't he?
Yeah, he got suspended the first 3 and the last 3. So he only coached half the season.
It's not right. It's not right. Everybody else can cheat and get away with it.
Hey, but look, if your defense is, well, if Bama was doing it, they get away with it. That's not a good defense.
Well, other teams were doing it too. We turned on them.
Then prove it. Prove it. Where's the proof?
Well, we're working on it. All right. All they got against us is circumstantial. They don't know where the question they used to ask about Nixon. When did the president know about it? Did the president know? And when did he know?
But here's the thing, though. Everything that we know about college football and how anal these top coaches are, you really think, like, there's video of you looking in that man's direction, he's talking to one of your assistants, and you don't know he's on the sideline or what he's doing? Come on now.
I mean, a lot of people on the sidelines, man. A lot of guys on the sidelines these games. Look, there was an actual coach for another team that didn't know the dude was on the sidelines.
Bro, no, he was definitely lying. He was definitely lying.
Oh, Cory made it.
Cory made it. All right.
Yeah,
you just in time, bro. Mac Jones got benched.
I mean, what took him so long?
I don't know what. You got. I think you're. Let me see. I think it's Allen going. Or it could be me too. Cory, just give me your take on the 49ers.